Rest. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're going to make use of 2 blankets or towels if you're from using that at home. A strap, please. And if we're in the studio, we're using a bolster. If you're at home, you may want to grab a couple of cushions. We're actually going to start with a meditation, and it is time, so I'm going to close the door and get going. And for the meditation, you may choose to sit or lie. So seated or lying. And if you are going to sit and we're in the studio, sit on your bolster and have some lovely height underneath the buttocks. The rule when we sit for meditation is that the hips are always higher than your knees or level with your knees. So if you're choosing to have a seat, you build that seat with maybe a bolster, a couple of cushions, a blanket, and then you find a position that when you sit, your hip bones are level with your knees or they're a little bit higher. Often we take a blanket for the ankles. We just lift up the shins and tuck the blanket in and then drop the shins back down, and that just gives you a little bit of ankle support as well. You can choose to sit cross-legged or you can choose to sit in Siddhasana, where you're on the actual tops of your feet. And if you're lying down, just make yourself comfortable. So look at your hips if you're seated. Are they level with your knees or higher? Make sure your knees are not higher than your hips. Just put your extra blanket underneath. Take off your shoes so your feet are free. And if you're wearing glasses at home, take your glasses off for the meditation so your face is free. If you're in a seated position, draw your trapezius down the back body towards your sit bones. And have your hands wherever you're comfortable, either on your thighs, in your lap, palms up, palms down. If you're choosing to lie, please have your hands with your palms facing up, so you're broadening the collarbones. Now, wherever you are, close the eyes. Soften the skin on the forehead. Soften the skin on the eyelids. Soften the ears. And float the tongue into the bottom of the mouth. Now broaden the base of your tongue and relax the tip of the tongue. Let your lips part and let the jaw hang loose. And relax the hinge of the jaw. Now find the breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Now start to lengthen your exhalation. Lengthen the exhalation. Now start to expand the pause at the end of the exhalation. So long, slow exhalation. Extend the pause at the end of that before you inhale again. And extend the pause after the inhalation. Extending the pause at the end of the inhalation and the exhalation. Lengthening that exhalation. Five more cycles, extending the pauses, lengthening the exhalation. Then normal breathing. And as you rest in your breath, I'd like to remind you that yoga is for everyone. There is no judging, comparing, competing. We symbolize taking the shoes off outside the studio as a way of stepping out of the ego and stepping into the body. So without judgment, whatever you do today will be good. Slowly opening your eyes. If you chose to sit for the meditation, please change the cross on your legs. If you're lying down and your legs are straight, please bend your knees. If you're lying down on the floor, take your arms into cowboy surrender. If you're seated, take your arms out to the side and turn your palms up. Now, everybody descend the trapezius down the back body towards your hips or your heels. And those of us that are seated, we're going to flex the wrist and pull the fingers back. Flex the wrist, point the fingers down to the floor, lift the inner elbows up. Those of you on the floor, you're staying in cowboy surrender. Good. Keep trying to pull those fingers back towards your body if you're seated. And then release. Fabulous. So we're all going to start on the floor for the first pose. So if you're wearing your socks, we suggest you take them off to improve proprioception, the connection from your body to your brain. We're going to lie on the back. Some of you may need a support under your head. Some of you may not. You'll need a strap close by, please. So have your strap within arm's reach. When you lie on your back, you need a support under your head if, when you're lying, the chin is tilted up and your head is back. So if this is your position when you're lying, then you need something underneath your head. Our goal is to always find a neutral alignment. So the spine is in its safest position. Okay, so lying down, you've got your head in your neutral. I'm going to ask you to take your hands onto your yoga mat, grip your yoga mat, straighten your legs out, and then as you grip the yoga mat, pull your shoulders down the back body. So pull down on that yoga mat, and I want you to draw your trapezius down towards your heels. Now, squeeze the leg muscles, tighten those legs, lift your kneecaps, and feel that length in the backs of the legs, lengthening out the back of those legs. Legs are straight, kneecaps are lifted. Now let go of the yoga mat, but keep the shoulders down. You want to feel like your trapezius is sliding down towards your heels. Keep the legs active. We're in Supine Tadasana. Kneecaps are lifted, please. The legs are active. The back of the legs are long. I want you to lift your right foot off the floor and reach out through the right heel and then lower the leg back down. Lift your left foot leg off the floor, reach out through the heel, lengthen the leg, and then place it back down. Keep the kneecaps lifted so your legs are engaged. Draw your pubic bone so that your abdominals scoop in and up. So you make that hollowing in the front of the body. Abdomen scooping in and up under the ribs. The back of your arms are on the floor. Place the thumbs to face up and the knife edge of your arms on the ground and press the back of your shoulders down. As the back of the shoulders go down, the breastbone will elevate. Keep your legs active, please. And you should feel some space underneath the back body between you and the floor. Keep the legs firmly down. Good. Now keep the lift of the kneecaps and inhale, arms go up over your head as far as you can comfortably without stressing the neck. Some of you will have your hands all the way over. Some of you might need to widen your arms so there's no stress in the neck or shoulders. Can you squeeze your arms straight, please? Squeeze the tricep muscles, straighten those arms. Lovely. Keep the lift of the kneecaps. Your legs are still active. And then bring your arms back down to the side. Keep the action on the legs. Lift your right knee in towards your chest. Now take your hands, interlock your fingers on top of your shin. Now align your heel to your buttock bone and press that thigh down towards your chest. So interlock the fingers, you're on the front of the shin, just below the knee, and press that thigh. So don't just use one hand, interlock both fingers, front of your shin, press down. We're going to be lengthening out your spine here. So press that down. Now your left leg, please don't let it flop out. Keep the action in your left leg. Your left heel bone is underneath the buttock bone. Your right heel bone is lined up with your buttock bone. So don't let your right leg swing out. You're pressing it down towards your chest. Now, if you can, move your hands down to the middle of your shin bone and press down. If you can, move your hands down to the bottom of your shin bone near your ankle and press down. Keep the flexion on the right foot, please. Good. Now take that right leg back down on the floor. Keep the right heel lined up with your hip and keep the action of that right leg. Now bring your left in. Left knee in. Start at the top of the shin bone. Interlock both fingers, top of the shin bone. Press down. So you're trying to press your thigh to the top of your chest. Make sure the leg doesn't swing open. So you want to align your heel bone. Your heel on your left should be lined up with your buttocks. Now that leg that's on the floor, that right leg, can you press the inner thigh down towards the floor? That will stop you from rolling that leg out. Good. We're stretching out the lumbar here. Now move the arms, if you can, to the middle of the shin bone and press the thigh to the chest. Keep the flexion on the left ankle. Nice. If you can, move your hands down to the lower shin bone and press down towards the chest. Remember that right leg on the floor, inner thigh pressing down to the floor so you don't roll it out. Fantastic. And then release and take that down. Please reach for your strap now. We'll go through the Padangusthasana series. Bring the right leg in. You're going to place the strap across the back of your heel. Now you're going to straighten that out, both hands on the strap today. The back of your shoulders are going to touch the floor. So move your hands down the strap so the back of your shoulders touch the floor. We're going to keep the length in the collarbones this morning. Muriel, you've got too much under your head. It's tilting your head forward. You need to be in alignment there. That's lovely. Okay. So, shoulders, back of your arms, back of your shoulders, feel them on the floor. Feel the shoulders on the floor. Good. Now, that left leg on the floor, same thing, inner thigh, roll it in and down towards the floor. Nice. Right leg, is it perfectly straight? Right leg perfectly straight. Good. Now look at the ankle bone. Look at the foot. We're going to try and level the ankle bone by extending the inner ankle bone towards the ceiling. Parallel foot to the ceiling. Doesn't matter where the leg is, but it does need to be straight. Head down on the floor. Broaden your collarbones, back of your arms on the floor. Right leg perfectly straight. Hug the muscles deep into the bones. Now bring the strap into your right hand. Put your left arm out and take that right leg away from the body. Keep that left thigh down. Left inner thigh roll into the floor so you don't twist and tilt. Right leg out to the side. Now reach. Inner ankle bone, reach away from the groin. Both shoulders down, front of the collarbones broaden. Left leg, heel is under the hip, toes are up to the ceiling. You're not rolling that left leg out. Good. And then bring that up to the center. And then bend that knee, let it go. Left leg comes in. Place the strap across the back of the left heel. Find the heel and then extend that left leg straight. Now go back to your foundations. Your right leg should be straight and the right inner thigh rolls in and down towards the floor so the leg doesn't turn out. Left leg straight. Now, I don't want you to close the front of your collarbones. So slide your hands down the strap so that your back of shoulders, back of arms are on the floor and the collarbones are broad. Now, left outer hip. Can you just move it slightly down away from your left armpit? Nice. Opening out the back of that left knee. Right inner thigh still rolling to the floor. Look at your left ankle. Is the ankle bone level? Do you need to lift through the inner ankle bone? Now bring the strap into your left hand. Place your right arm on the floor. Keep that right inner thigh rolling in and down to the floor as you take your left leg away from you. Left leg away from you. Nice. Left leg away as far as you can without losing the weight and the connection in the right side of the body. Right inner thigh grounding down towards the floor. Lovely. And then bring that leg back up to the center and bend the knee. Good. Bend both knees, put the strap down. Grip onto your yoga mat again and just adjust that torso so the back of those shoulders slide down. That trapezium slides down towards your heel bones. Good. Now we let go of the yoga mat. Both knees are bent. Flex the right ankle and place it on top of your left thigh. So you make that number 4 shape. Nice. Keep your left foot on the floor, please. Yep. Left foot on the floor to start. So from this flexed position, flex the right ankle, press your right thigh bone away. Now, some of you will be able to put your hands between the legs. And today I'm going to get you to hold on to your shin bone. So some of you will be able to lift your left leg in and you'll be able to interlock and hold on to your shin bone. Some of you will find that too much, so you'll hold on to the back of your thigh. So if you can, today, you're going to hold on to your shin bone. Good. Now keep the flexion on the ankle. If you can't do either of those, you put the strap on the back of your left thigh and you use the strap to pull your left thigh in. So lots of options because there's lots of bodies. Okay. Now, we're going to do a little bit of an abdominal contraction here. Keep the flexion on the right foot. I want you to keep the neck soft, and I want you to lift your shoulders off the floor. Lift your shoulders off the floor. Draw the thigh in towards the body. Lift the shoulders off the floor. Keep your neck soft. Think about the shoulders lifting and curl. And then release and lower that down. Let's change sides. So left foot flex, place that left foot first of all on top of the right thigh. Right foot's on the floor. Establishing the position of the pelvis, just press your left thigh bone away from you. Left thigh bone pressing away. Great. Now, you can reach your hands through the center of the leg, interlock, and hold on to your shin bones. Or you can reach onto the back of your thigh bone. Or you can take the strap and pull in using the strap. But we need to get that leg in so we can get into this piriformis. Now, keep the flexion on the left ankle. Abdominal contraction. Lift your shoulders off the floor. Head comes along for the ride. Lift the shoulders off the floor. Keep the head still. Keep the mind quiet. Head still, quiet mind. Lift up. Shoulders, get up higher. Lift the shoulders off the floor, pulling the leg in. That's why you need to use your strap if you're not interlocking your hands, so you can get the assistance in the lift. And then release and lower that down. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So feet back on the floor. Go back to your right side. Flex the foot. Place that right foot back on that left. Keeping your left foot on the floor now. You're going to flex the spine again, lifting the shoulders off the floor. And you're going to take your right hand through the gap and hook your own shin. That's it. Take your left 2 fingers around the big toe. Keep the left foot on the floor, and now pull that right shin towards you. Lift your head and shoulders up. Try and get your chest to touch the calf. Now lower the head and shoulders down, but keep the leg where it is. You can take that left hand, you can assist yourself by taking the left hand around to pull that leg in. Stay where you are. I just want to take a quick look there. So you're trying to hug that leg in towards you as you pull that in towards you. Nice, very nice. Looks good. Looks good. It's very humbling. And then I want you to just make your buttocks a little bit heavier. Some of you have lifted your buttocks off the floor, so just sink the buttocks down. Sink the buttocks down. And then release, change over. We're going to do that again, but we'll go to the left first. Flex the left foot. Place it first of all on top of the right thigh. Invite that left thigh to press away. Then take your left hand, thread it through, lift your head and shoulders up off the floor. That will get you your hook. Keep that right foot down, and now you can either take 2 fingers on your big toe and pull that leg in towards you this way, or you can wrap around the outside of your foot and hug it in. Head and shoulders stay lifted to start. Now, keep that pressure, pulling that thigh in towards you and lower your head down. It's like you're tying yourself in knots. And then sink the hips and the buttocks down. Should feel fabulous in a very humbling kind of way. And then release and take it down. And we'll go again on the right side. So flex the right foot, place it on. Now, if you find that you can't get through, you can't pull the leg in towards you, then you go back to what we did at first, which was just pulling the thigh in, or use a strap to pull the thigh in. Otherwise, lift your shoulders off the floor. Take your right arm through and create a hook. Left fingers on the toe or left arm wrapped around the foot to assist that pressure, pulling it in and down. Then once you've got your hook, you can lower your head down on the floor. Then you've got to try and make your buttocks heavy. And the option, if you're not doing the arm through and you're not pulling it in this way, then the option is to do that number 4 again. Keep the flexion on your ankle though, please. Keep the flexion on the ankle. Buttocks down, and then release. And we'll change over. Flex the left, place it on the right. Lift the shoulders up off the floor, take the left arm through, create that hook and pull that leg off the other leg in towards you and wrap the arm around the foot. It's really good if it gets into its own elbow crease and pull it in. And then you can lower your head down and then you can sink your buttocks, and any variation of it works. We're just getting into the piriformis in a supine position. So good for you. Good. And then release that leg. Perfect. Roll over onto your hands and your knees. Downward dog is next. So downward dog, if you're working with a shoulder issue, then I recommend that you do dog at the wall. If you're working with a shoulder issue, here is the quick option. Please imagine that I've got a wall, say my blanket is the wall. I'm going to take my thumb and first finger, so my arms turn outwards for shoulder issues, and the thumb and first finger would push into the wall, but the hands would still be down. If you've no shoulder issues and you're doing regular dog, then set your position up. Today we're going to set up with the hands the same width as a yoga mat. So pinky fingers touching the outside edge of the mat, please. Spread out your fingers and lengthen your fingers into the floor as if you're trying to make an imprint in the sand. Top of your shoulders, slide them away from your ears. And then your feet are shoulder width apart. Push down into the hands so the arms stay perfectly straight. And try and reduce that space underneath the fingers. Very, very good for the arthritis in the hands. So secure as much of your hand to the floor as possible. Then lift your hips off the ground. Secure as much of your hand to the floor as possible to protect your shoulders. Now, with your knees staying bent, please, lift your buttock bones up to the sky. Push down into the ground as if you're trying to break through, and slide the body weight back towards your thigh bones. Don't hang over your wrist. Slide back towards your thigh bones. Let your head go. Now, please keep your arms straight. Keep the pressure in the ground with your hands. Now you might be able to straighten out your thigh bones so your legs go straight and your heels go towards the floor. If your body is forward over the top of your wrist, you won't be able to stay in dog. You got to push into the ground and glide the body weight back so the body weight is in the center. So the pose becomes symmetrical. The buttock bones lift up, the buttock bones lift up. If you need to rest, come down and then join us again when you can. With the buttock bones lifting up, I want you to put your mind in the outside edge of your hips, and I want you to press the outside of your hips away from your armpits. Press the outside of your hips away from the armpits. Fantastic. And then come up onto your toes, bend your knees, go down into Adamuka Varasana, child's pose, and just rest for a moment with your forehead on the floor. And then bring yourself up and let's come up to a standing position, please. Standing position, coming to the center of your mat. Face the mirrors so you can use the full length of the mat for the pose, and make sure you've got no obstacles. So move any mats or any straps that may be hanging on the mat. Joining the feet together. If you don't feel comfortable, take your feet apart. Lift all your toes off the floor. When you lift your toes off the floor, you should feel that lift of your ankle bones. So your feet are close together. You've got the lift of the toes and you've got the lift of the ankle bones. You may also feel a lift in your pelvic floor and your abdomen. If you don't, you bring that in now. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the abdomen. Now lower your toes, but don't drop the abdomen. Keep the lift in your ankle bones. Lift your kneecaps. Lift your kneecaps. Use your quadriceps. Now your inner thighs, roll your inner thighs back slightly. So often when we lift the kneecaps, we bring in the glutes and we thrust the hip bones forward or the thigh bones forward. So the inner thighs, they roll back. That will broaden the sacrum. Now step into your heels and stand up with the back of the head on the imaginary wall and engage the trapezius, so that big triangle trapezium shape in the back of the body goes down to the heels. Extend the arms. Good. Miriam, pull your thigh bones back. Yeah. And align your head, chin parallel to the floor. Now lift your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Squeeze the arms straight. Trapezium down towards your heel bones. Lifting the inner ankles, lifting the knees, lifting the pelvic floor. Now let's create more length. Can you, from your armpit to your elbows, lengthen? Take your elbows off your armpits, stretch them away. Now take your wrist and stretch them away from the elbows. Now take the fingers and stretch them away from the wrist. Now open your fingers and take your arms all the way out to the side. Drop the top of your shoulders away from your ears and once again flex the wrist, pulling the fingers back, lifting the inner elbows, but can you descend your shoulders? Straighten the arms, push the heel of the hands to the sides of the room. When we're tense or we're busy in the mind, we grip through the hands and the fingers. And the hands are the first thing to get old. So you need to be able to use your wrist and your fingers to their full capacity, regardless of your age. So keep the lift. So as uncomfortable and nauseating as this feels, it is super good for you. And then release and bring that down. Fantastic. Spread the toes on the right, lift the right inner ankle and see if you can lift your left leg off the floor and hook onto that shin like you did when you were lying down. And then release and change over. Spread the toes. If you widen your base of support, lift your ankle, lift your kneecap, bring this leg into Tadasana and keep your eyes still. That will help you so much. And then lift up the other leg and try and interlock. And release and take that down. Now take the legs wide. We're going to find a warrior pose. Virabhadrasana 2. The legs need to be wide, much wider. Don't be shy on your width. It will be much healthier for you. Okay, so let's start with the right leg. Turn the whole of the right leg from the head of the femur, rotate it out 90 degrees. Your body, however, has to face forward. Now you can adjust the back toes slightly in until you feel comfortable that you can square your body forward. And then just straighten the legs. Pull the thighs up towards your hips and extend your arm span. Press down into the floor with both feet. Feel a sense of connection or a sense of grounding. You'll need that earth beneath you. Inhale, and as you exhale, bend the right knee. Please don't lunge to the right. Descend the hips straight down at the center. Now press into the back foot. Lift the back thigh, reach the back arm, and descend some more. Now that bent knee should be rolling back so that you can see your big toe. And descend some more. Don't collapse that back leg. Body forward. Now turn your head and look at your middle fingernail. That's the dristi, the focal point of the pose. Can you press down into the outside edge of your left foot, please? Can you grip both buttocks, squeeze them into the center of the pelvis? And can you descend your trapezius down to your hip bones? Push into your heel, bring yourself up. Adjust to the other side. Left leg turns out from the head of the femur. The whole leg turns out. The body is forward. Adjust your balance. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bend the left knee and descend straight at the center. Don't lunge. Descend down. If you can't descend down, your legs are not wide enough. Now lift that back, that right foot, the inner ankle is lifted, the right outer foot is down. Press that right leg back. Descend some more. Now be careful, you mustn't shift the body weight. So the pose of the warrior is to bring you to the now. So if we're lunging over the leg, it's a sign of forward thinking, going on to the next thing. If we're hanging back, it's the past. We're trying to be grounded in the now. Descend some more. Grip the leg muscles into the bones. Squeeze the buttocks into the sacrum. Roll that left thigh back. Roll it back. Let that hip open. Push into your heels and inhale, come up. Turn the toes. Have both toes pointing straight ahead. So the pinky toe and the heel are nice and parallel. Press into the outside edges of the feet. Lift the kneecaps up towards the hips. Put your finger in your hip crease. Lift the heart center. Inhale. As you exhale, lead with the breastbone all the way forward and bring your hands to the floor. If your hands don't touch the floor, it's usually because the legs aren't wide enough. If that's still not working for you, you can use your blankets, you can use your bolster, you can use a book at home, anything to prop underneath your hands. We're going to be here for a while, so you need to find what's right for you right now. Okay, we're going to work the dorsal spine first of all. So if your hands are on the floor, try coming onto your fingertips. Have your hands forward, come onto your fingertips, and take the dorsal spine in to kiss the breastbone. So the dorsal spine is the thoracic region, T1, T2. I want you to think about T1, T2 coming in to the breastbone. So it creates that concavity in the upper back. Legs should be straight. Lift your hands up higher if you can't keep the legs straight. Dorsal spine in. Good. Now press down into the toes and you can start to walk your hands back. Now, some of you might be able to get your elbows onto the floor. Some of you will need to stay on your hands, and if you're staying on your hands, then you walk your hands back to line up with your own heels, please. Now, everybody hang the head. Some of you will get your head on the floor. Some of you will just hang the head. Stay where you are, please. Now, spread the buttocks. Spread them. Spread the buttock bones. Open out the back of those knees. Open out the back of the knees. If you can't open out the back of the knees, bring your hands further forward. The legs are the priority. The hand position is secondary. Very nice, very nice. Keep pressing down into your toes, and that will swing you a little bit further forward. Fabulous. Now, everybody walk the hands back forward, lift the head, go onto your fingertips and go back to your concavity. Dorsal spine into the breastbone. Press down into your feet, pull up on your thighs and bring yourself all the way up. Fantastic. Now walk the legs in together. Back down onto the floor to downward dog. Hopefully the brain and the body remembers some of the points. We're going for a wide hand position with the pinky fingers at touching the edge of the mat. If for any reason you're not doing downward dog, then you would do half dog at the wall instead. Spread out your fingers, use your fingers. We have to get those hands flat. We have to get those fingers long, shoulders down the back body. Make an imprint with your fingers in the sand. That will straighten out the arms, tuck the toes under. Keep the knees bent, lift the hips to the sky. Press your hands firmly down and move the body weight back. So your breastbone slides back towards your thigh bones. So you're not over the top of those wrists. Arms are straight, push into the ground, flesh of your thumb. Press the flesh of your thumb into the earth. Arms straight, press the thigh bones away. Don't worry about the heels, but just let them go down towards the floor the best they can. Please don't be hanging on your hands. Move the body weight back towards the thigh bones. Nice. Now lengthen. Take your mind into your outer hip bones and move those outer hip bones away from the armpits. Lengthen the side torso, hands firm. Then come up onto your toes. Bend the knees, Adamuka Varasana, child's pose. Sit back, forehead down on the floor. Couple more breaths there, just rest that out. Don't worry about how far the bum goes. Sit the bum up high if there's a problem in the knees. Nice. And then release and bring yourself up. We're just going to lengthen a little bit more in the side torso. In the studio, we're going to use a bolster and then a blanket on top. At home, you can use your 2 towels, or this is where you may use a couple of cushions. And you're going to sit side on to the bolster. And we're going to bring the bolster to the hip. So you sit side on and the bolster goes to the hip. And then we're going to take the hand and slide it along the bolster, coming down onto the elbow, and then extending out and allowing the body to lie down on the side. Now your head will go down into your own arm. If that's uncomfortable on the shoulder, then bring the arm forward and cradle the head this way instead. So if you're comfortable with the arm straight out, then your head goes down in your arm. Now the top arm, this is where the work's going to be. You're going to take your top arm and you're going to lift it up and over the body as far as you can. Straighten the arm, palm will face downwards. Make sure your head feels comfortable. And now take your top leg and stretch it out, flex the foot, stretch the leg out, stretch the arm out, reach further, like somebody's pulling your ankle, somebody's pulling your wrist. And now relax the leg, but don't relax the arm. Let the leg fold wherever it needs to fold. And now you take that top hand behind your head if you're comfortable. And now you just relax there. Now you've got to sink that outer hip down. Sink that outer hip down. If the head does not feel comfortable, it's really important you can always take a towel and fold it and place it on top of your arm so your head is comfortable. Do what you need to do. Please don't suffer. Suffering just creates tension in the body, and then it distracts from what we're trying to do in the pose. Sink that outer hip, drop it down more. And then lift that top arm all the way up, bring it forward, push into that top hand and bring yourself up. And then we go to the other side. So we bring the supports across, maybe 2 cushions and then 2 towels if you're at home. The bolsters are quite firm, so you need to build it up if you're at home. Then you sit down on the side and you bring that bolster in so it's touching your own hip. Knees are where you're comfortable. Then extend that arm out along. You want to lift, so you don't just kind of fold over. Lift the breastbone, extend out, so create length as you go. Extending the arm until you're comfortable, resting your head on your top arm. If this isn't comfortable, take a towel or place something underneath your head. Then from here, take your top arm, lift it up, spread the fingers, reach up and over, extending away so the arm is straight. Now work the arm, flex the foot, take the leg away and create length. So we're trying to create space here. Somebody's pulling your heel, somebody's pulling your arm. Reach, 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 reach. And now you can fold the arm behind your head if that's comfortable, and you can relax the leg. You want to try and get that inner knee down, and then the work is in that top hip. You're just trying to allow that top hip to descend. Nice. Letting that go as we lengthen the lateral body. So we're focused today on lengthening the spine. That's been the intention. Starting with all the work we did on the floor to lengthen the back of the spine, the lengthening the lower back. Downward dog, lengthening the spine. Warrior pose, building the strong legs so you can lengthen the spine. And then finishing here with your side lying. Now strongly lift up the top arm, squeeze the arms straight, bring it forward, push into that hand and bring yourself up. We're going to finish with a little bit of pranayama. So a little bit of breath work in the Shavasana. Couple of positions. Position 1 is using the bolster and a folded towel. Liz, this won't be for you. This works nice for people who have, a natural, healthy curvature in the lower back. I'm a little bit flat naturally in my lower back, so this is way too high for me, but for many people it's not. So I'll show you this option. You'll have your buttocks close to it, you'll lift the breastbone so you get the elevation for the breath, then you'll extend. This towel under the head is designed to give you a tilt. So in pranayama we try and tilt the head so that we keep the brain quiet. So this would be a position for most of us. If that bothers your lower back, you can slide your bottom away. That will make it a little bit more comfortable. Or if that is just too high, and obviously for everybody at home, you would take your blankets or your towels, do your trifold with both of them. Put one on top of the other. Liz, yours just be one. And then for those of you at home, you'd lie back onto your folded towels and you just take your top towel and you tuck it under so you can get that little bit of a chin nod. You should be nice and comfortable wherever you are. The intention is we've got that elevation so that the chest is open. I'm going to put something else under your head just to give you that downward head tilt, just so we get that length in the back. And then take your arms out, palms up. Broaden your collarbones with your palms up. I'm going to take off the light, hopefully. And you allow the eyes to close and the skin on the eyes to be soft. The skin on the forehead, soft. Tongue is in the bottom of the mouth. Broaden the base of the tongue. And relax the tip of the tongue. Now start to lengthen the exhalation. Lengthening the exhalation. And extend the pause at the end of the inhalation and the exhalation. Focus on lengthening the exhalation and extending the pause. Pausing at the end of the inhale, long, slow exhale, pausing at the end of the exhale. Now, as you exhale, focus on exhaling from the center of the chest first. So as you exhale from the center of the chest, just below the breastbone. So you notice that the upper chest is still lifted whilst you are exhaling. It will eventually release at the end of the exhalation. So you're exhaling from the center of the chest. Extending the pauses. Three more cycles, please. And then normal breathing. And let the arms be heavy. Shoulders heavy. body heavy. Legs heavy. Let go. And now, as it's time to end, slowly moving the fingertips and the toes, bending your knees, bring the right hand to cradle your head. Roll to the right hand side, lifting your left hip and shoulder so you don't collapse when you roll. Bring your left hand forward and come onto a seated position. Sit however you feel comfortable for the final pose. Descend the trapezius down the back of the body. Bring the palms together. Bow the head to surrender the ego. And take your final moment of quietness, preparing to go back into the world. With a thumb on the heart center, you carry your light, your wisdom, and your quietness with you. As you spread your fingers to the world, you promise to tread carefully, with respect, and honoring the light and the wisdom around you. Namaste.